The first thing I want you to do is practice. When the year is starting, at the beginning of the year, or whenever you're deciding to try to roll out this small group thing, I want you to practice just what small group even looks like. So break your students up into groups and allow them to work on something that they can do independently. So when the students are in their groups, I want you to just pop around the classroom addressing certain things. This group, you guys are going to be a little too loud. If we're doing small group, I need you at a voice level 1. Allow them to go through a couple of small group activities, only focusing on the management side of the small groups. And after you get the management down, after you get to the point where you can put them in small groups and you could just sit down if you wanted to for 20-30 minutes and they would continue moving like a well-oiled machine, then you introduce the content. And let me show you how to do that. So in your class, remember, the lesson should be no more than 15 minutes. So after you deliver your 15-minute or less lesson, then you want to deliver a lesson check. Now this isn't the exit ticket, but this is going to see if students receive the lesson that I just gave. Because you're going to have some students that get it right away. Then you're going to have some students that they kind of got what you were teaching, but there's still a couple of misconceptions. And then you're going to have some students that are just completely lost. That's going to happen all the time. And customarily, if we skip this phase, if we don't do the small group portion, what we typically do here is we do the I do, you do, we do. So after direct instruction, we go and start rolling it out. But then only one of those groups are ready to move on to the independent practice. So what you want to do is do the check here so you can decide which students are ready to move on, which students need a little bit of clarification, and which students need to pause. And that's how you determine who's in which group. So those who mastered it, they can move on out to work either independently or collaboratively, your choice. Those who need a little bit more clarification around a couple of things, maybe that's the group that they're working together. You give them another practice problem just like the one you just went over. Or you have them review the practice problem that you just did. Or you have them look at the notes again. Or you have them go back through the slide or clear up whatever misconceptions, maybe just one or two little things that they need to be pointed out. And then in the other group, they need to go way back. What you want to do is spend your time with this group backtracking to find where that jump off point was. I call it the jump off point. Go back to find out where the point of confusion began. Then at the end of the class, after small groups, you still want to do an exit ticket, an actual exit ticket that addresses the standards similar to the lesson check did earlier, but now we're addressing it again. And now what you're doing is you're seeing who definitely has it now, who still needs a little bit of clarification, and who's still lost, because now that's going to inform what tomorrow looks like. So after you give the exit ticket, how do you decide when to move on? In the description below, I'm going to give you this PDF that you can use, maybe like a poster in your class, or maybe just use for your reference. But it goes through what I'm about to say right now, and it lets you know how to know when to move on, how to know when to pause, move forward with caution, and how to know when to stay just a little bit. And you can move on when 70% of your students have shown mastery over the content that you taught today. 70% of your students show mastery, you can move on. The reason why 70% is that number is because you are still going to continue to reloop. You are still going to continue to cycle, and you're still going to present these things in the warm-ups, in the launch, in the homework, in practice. So you don't need to have 100% of them master it right here, right now to move forward. If 50 to 60% of these students master it, now we want to pause, we want to caution, because that means that a good portion of your class still has some misconceptions around what it is that you taught today. So in that moment, I suggest that you don't go forward full steam ahead, but maybe tomorrow you take a little bit of time before going into the next lesson to clear up some misconceptions about today's. And then if less than 50% of your students show mastery on the exit ticket, you gotta stop. Because that means more than half your class is confused. So you cannot, in good conscience, that's malpractice. You cannot, in good conscience, move forward tomorrow because more than half your class is still confused. Next time that you have those students, address the same thing. So you now have to hit a hard pause, go back to the standard that you were teaching today, look at it, maybe I need to chunk it a little bit smaller. And the biggest question I get when I talk about this is people ask, doesn't that cause some sort of segregation within the class? Especially in middle school, aren't students gonna make fun of each other? Aren't they eventually gonna start poking at each other because you gotta work with the teacher all the time and I get to work independently? And the answer that I like to give, as the moral authority in that classroom, you need to make sure that you set up a culture that allows for that to be okay. We have to be way more intentional about allowing students to recognize other student differences and to be okay with that. Everybody learns at a different pace, and in your class, students should be able to recognize that we're all working towards a common goal. We all just want to be the best version of ourselves. We all learn at different speeds. We all learn at different times. We all do different things, and everybody's different, and that's okay.